Now, diaspora remittances rose by 8.34% to $4.027 billion in 2022. Much as diaspora remittances are the highest foreign exchange earner in Kenya, there is a problem. Cross-border payments in Africa average about 12 to 18%, which is way higher than the global average of 6 to 7%. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Betty. It's great to be here.
Always a pleasure. Those numbers, quite a problem for Africa, really. Is this the case in terms of what you experience as Nala?
Yes, yeah. Thank you for raising that. As you mentioned, remittances, $4 billion into Kenya in this past year. It's so significant, and it's a key contributor to foreign exchange earning here in the country. The reality is that Africa is still the most expensive continent to send money to. And Kenya, with on average around 6 to 7%, is still quite high when we think about all the hard-earned dollars, pounds, and euros that have been earned abroad that are being sent and remitted back to Kenya. So absolutely, we're seeing fees very high. What's great to see, though, is a rise really in technology companies taking the stand to be able to lower the cost of remittances across the board. And we're seeing this in markets, all across the continent, here in Kenya as well.
Right. And as Nala, what are you doing to lower this cost?
Sure. So at Nala, we're a cross-border payments company, a remittances company, and we're live in markets all across Europe. So 18 markets in Europe. We're live in the UK and the US. And individuals can use our product to send money directly to Kenya, directly to M-Pesa, Airtel, all of the major banks across the country, as well as buy goods and pay bill tills. So this is something that really differentiates us from some of the competition. Our key mission is really how do we reduce the costs of remittances for individuals? And a big way that we're able to do that is by building here on the ground. So we have a great team of over 30 people who are based here in Nairobi, who are building the product alongside myself and members of our team, as well as a global team. Our focus is on finding the best talent globally, and we're seeing a lot of talent here in Kenya, so very excited to be building with our team members. So reducing the cost is done by us building on the ground. We can better understand market dynamics, relative to some of the other players who are out there who may be building from abroad. And then additionally, eating down into the payment stack. Because if you were to look at how remittances are done and why it costs 6 to 7% to send money, it's really because there are many middlemen that sit in between, and each of them need to get paid. So we want to eat down into the stack and get as close as possible from the sender to the receiver.
From the sender to the receiver. So what will it take? Because many fintechs are, of course, coming in Kenya. The fintech space is growing very vigorously. I mean, the seed funding, you got $10 million.
That's right.
Just tell us how that is going to help in terms of expansion in Africa and how that is going to pan out for Kenya as well.
Yeah, so we're very fortunate, to have raised $10 million. And, we've been working on this now for the past 4 years and have grown tremendously. So the $10 million investment will allow us to get deeper, into the Kenyan market, allowing us to build, stronger products, allow us to get closer directly to the terminating points, so we can reduce those costs for consumers and for the diaspora who are living abroad. This will also allow us to expand to other markets across the African continent, as well as build stronger partnerships here in Kenya that will further reduce, the cost of remittances for the diaspora.
When you talk about diaspora remittances, there have been quite some issues around the security of the channels, be it, sending to friends or family or whatever it is. So what is the point of ensuring that there are formal channels that are trustworthy? Yeah,
that's a great point. And I think, in a lot of the research that we do see that many who are in the diaspora who send money back home to support family and friends send it typically for a specific purpose. And sometimes the money is used for the way that it's intended, and other times it's used in a different manner. I was here a couple of months ago, and I think I told the story that, when we launched in the USA about 1 year ago, we were speaking to a number of diaspora members, and one of them explained that, they were sending money back home to their relative to build their retirement home. And when they got home, they realized that there was actually no home there. So I think this is where tech players, have a competitive advantage. This gives tech players, sort of that key, unique differentiating point to solve specific issues if they focus on why the money is being sent. So at Nala, how we're solving for this is we're allowing the diaspora members to actually send directly to a pay bill or directly to a buy goods till. This will allow diaspora who are, let's say, supporting family members in school to pay the schools directly, or pay hospital bills directly, or pay for land for investment purposes, as that's a major use case for how our diaspora members and consumers use our product.
When you talk about these insecure channels, so to say, I mean, are there any pointers you can give to the diaspora community when they're looking for channels that they can trust?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, financial services is all about building trust. And financial services firms have to earn users' trust. Just because it's on the App Store or it's on the Play Store doesn't mean you can necessarily trust that product. So things that I would be looking at to ensure the safety of that product are, is there, for example, the ability to lock or have two-factor authentication on every single transaction you do, meaning do you have to type in a passcode, or does it use the biometric authentication on your device to secure your payments? That's one piece, just to ensure that somebody doesn't use the product who's not intended to do that. So as you're looking for a product to be able to use to remit money home, I would be looking for things like where are the disclosures around the company in terms of are they trustworthy? Are there reviews that have been written about the company that show that this is a transfer service that really has users' interests in mind, as well as looking when you open up the product to see, does it have security features like two-factor authentication, like I just mentioned.
So of $10 million, you're spending half of it in Kenya.
Yes.
What is so special about Kenya?
Yeah, Kenya is, I have a real love for this country. I hope to be able to stay here for the rest of my life. It's an honor to be living here for the past 2 years. Kenya is such an amazing market because it's a hotbed of talent. There are many young individuals who've graduated from universities, who are seeking for jobs, who are very well qualified. For every customer support and operations role that we open up, we have over 100 applications just for one role. And, many of the individuals we have to unfortunately pass on because we don't have the capacity to hire them right now, but many of them are extremely qualified. So that's something I'd love to see, further continue in the ecosystem, is more global companies setting up operations in Kenya, because there is such great talent, that exists here.
So for you as Nala, you've come in, of course there are competitors who are already set up here, and you've joined the market. Do you think the cake is big enough?
Absolutely. It's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to payments and it comes to technology. And there's a slogan that some of us like to say, which is payments are 1% built. And what we mean by that is that it's still very much early days in capturing the true opportunity that technology can open up when it comes to payments. There are a handful of companies that are out here that are making great progress in the market, but the opportunity is still wide open. Let's look at remittances, as that's the segment. Much of remittances is still done through informal channels, through the Hawala networks, through individuals hopping on a plane and delivering cash, or giving it to a stranger who will then deliver it to your home. The World Bank estimates that more than half of remittances are still done through informal channels. So technology companies that are trustworthy and that have earned a reputation have the opportunity still to be able to reduce the cost that informal channels as it relates to remittances still contain.
You deal in a number of markets in Africa, of course. How does Kenya compare with the other markets?
Yeah, Kenya is an super exciting market for us, and hence the reason why we've decided to double down our investment here in the market. Kenya has a large diaspora base, based all across the world, that consistently sends money, back home for investment purposes and also to support family and friends. And it's an extremely strong and connected diaspora network, I'd say. And so for us, we see Kenya as being, a major opportunity that still, is just the tip of the iceberg for us. And then, of course, there's other markets, all across the continent. Like you mentioned, we're in Francophone West Africa, we're in Nigeria, Ghana, and a few other markets. Of course, remittances play a pivotal role. But I think the thing that's exciting about Kenya is we're starting to go to remittances 2.0. And what I mean by that is we're heading into a place and a space where it's not just about sending money for directly to a bank account or to a telephone number. But now we're starting to allow the diaspora to pay for specific services back home. And that's super exciting. I think Kenya is leading the way in that.
Kenya is leading the way. As we come to a close of the conversation, Nico, what are your closing remarks? What is the outlook for the future in terms of remittances in Kenya?
Yeah, it's great to see that, remittance values are still rising. I'm excited to see how regulatory frameworks can continue to support tech businesses that are building here on the continent, especially tech businesses that really want to focus and work together with governments to help pave the way for new financial services. So, the doors are just being opened, we feel, and we're excited to see where this will head.
All right. Thank you very much, Nico, for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.